Disclaimer: the views expressed by the host of Insider Exchange do not necessarily represent those of our clients, sponsors, partners, or guests and should not be considered investment advice in any way. Similarly, the views and opinions of our guests and clients do not necessarily reflect those of our hosts or on our platform. Nothing shared on this platform should be read as constituting investment advice of any kind on the part of Insider Exchange. Any of its hosts, guests, partners, or sponsors trading and investing carry varying levels of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Please ensure you fully understand the risk and take appropriate care to manage your risk. We strongly advise that you obtain independent financial, legal, and tax advice from regulated professionals and institutions before proceeding with investing decisions. Can I go and play now?
I never said I hate the beach. What's wrong with you?
I bet you scared of sharks.
Yeah, because I'm human, Simon.
Sharks don't eat people, unless you're Australian.
I watched Finding Nemo. I'm not going to take my cue from that guy. Fish are friends, not food? No, that's not how I want to live my life, thanks. Anything in Australia will kill you, side note. Gosh. Also, why are you lying? As the ghost, were you just trying to stir up trouble? Oh my gosh. I don't hate the beach. I'm okay with the beach. I just don't understand why people want to go swim in the ocean. Or deep sea swimming, that doesn't make sense. I don't see sharks coming to land. Why should a land mammal go into the ocean? Doesn't make sense.
There's something very cool about just I don't know. I can't, no. Mm-hmm.
What, floating?
Yeah, like when you swim out past the shark nets and stuff, and you far out, and the bottom is everything's just impossibly far. Like if a shark comes, it's just going to eat you.
Which is avoidable, entirely avoidable, Si. Every part of that is avoidable.
No, you're not wrong.
If you need a thrill, just buy the Ferrari, damn it.
So when you swim out and you get about, not even a K, at about 700-800 meters, and you turn around, and you can't see the buildings on shore because of the curvature and the waves between you and shore. And you could be a million.
And that's a safe thing that you want to experience on a regular basis?
Well, I live in Joburg, so I don't do it that often.
Yeah, but every time you go to Durban, you do it. Absolutely every time.
Yeah.
No.
Tell you what, you swim back real fast.
Let's kick things off. Let's get the show on the road.
Unfiltered at 98, our current shot collapsing.
Privilege of welcoming one of our good friends into studio.
So not even Buffett listens to Buffett. Sue me, China, if you must.
1 or 22 on AC, but you're not getting that at home.
And there's quite a bit to discuss.
The stock is cheap.
The last podcast I did.
Introduce me.
I'm Jimmy Manaha.
And I'm Simon Brown.
Welcome to Insider Exchange.
Hello and welcome to Insider Exchange. We're going to bring you the best of the best as we can, straight into useful updates, because as you know, if we don't get through this, we've now been told there are time penalties. Okay, we're already in time.
So Tongaat now officially bust.
Yes.
It is over.
Took long enough, but
it did take.
I guess we're trying to save
forever.
jobs.
I was quite surprised. It did take forever, and the sugar price is again back at its low levels. It goes between very low and slightly low, and Tongaat game over. That's bad.
That's terrible. Terrible for the jobs, terrible for the sugar market, even terrible for those that were collecting the taxes.
Well, except for, to all of that, except, of course, it removes a lot of sugar from the market. Does that help price? No, because we global price, don't we?
No, we've already got a sugar price issue in that space in respect of the fact that international markets are relatively cheap at the moment, and so some people are actually importing sugar into South Africa instead of buying it local. So this worsens the problem.
Ooh.
Yeah, awkward.
Oh, okay.
Almost as awkward as Mercedes-Benz struggling through. They reported that their operating profits are down more than 50%.
I thought you meant they were struggling in F1. I thought there was a chance for Ferrari. Sorry, carry on.
The Ferrari conversation. We will circle back to that. Yes, Mercedes-Benz as a business struggling from an operating perspective. They're saying that they're seeing a slowdown in the Chinese market and they're seeing slowdowns in demands in other areas. And it's not that. It's really because you charge so much for your Mercedes. How do you expect someone in South Africa to pay almost 10,000 Rand a month for an A-class?
Yep. No, I got that. Yes.
See?
Your car's too expensive.
It really is. And then they went on that whole EV drive. They tried to do...
My sister's buying a car and she's found a nice little car, like a Suzuki Swift. You know, you can buy a brand new Suzuki Swift with red ears for like 220, 230K.
I challenge you to find a Mercedes-Benz new for 200K. Maybe just the front bumper.
You could find a 40-year-old one because it's still driving. Fair point. Moving on. It was SONA. Did you watch all of it?
No.
Really?
No. And it's not because I'm not patriotic. It's because...
It went on a bit.
Yeah, and some of the things we've heard, right? Some of the things are not new.
We've heard all of it. So I had quit just after 8 because I assumed it would be an hour. I didn't realize it was almost 2 hours. I liked how he started it. The Women's March 75 years ago, Strike a Woman, Strike a Rock. Really, really liked that. I got to say, I think army, anywhere outside of army bases and war zones is a terrible idea. And otherwise, like Mr. Delivery, you need to deliver.
Yeah. Well, can't do Mr. Delivery things if you're in the
Not
DA.
delivering.
In the DA, it's a different story.
It was quite fun to see John Steenhuisen sitting in the front and loudly applauding at certain points when he talked about the agricultural places. And then our electricity minister, who apparently didn't realize that we were going to get a proper separation of Eskom, not a play separation.
Absolutely. I mean, somehow we thought, actually, we can go back on that. And I actually looked at that and thought, that doesn't make any sense. No. How do you want to separate Eskom, keep all of the good parts, get rid of the bad parts, still hike electricity, and then still have South African consumers pay for it? Ridiculous. Hence the NERSA update as well. Moving swiftly along, China's decided to open up Africa. This is nice. This is something that I suppose they're very happy to do in terms of fighting the United States. We know that China, United States, they've been jostling for position in the global scheme of things forever. China's now potentially looking at tariff-free importing from 53 of the 54 African states. Now, I wonder which countries are left out, firstly, but this is effectively an AGOA 2.0, but better because China couldn't be bothered by restricting things. All they want is the market, and they're willing to take it.
Yeah, and China's not going to Munich and saying we are white and might and right.
We don't have a board of peace.
A massive deal.
Massive. And it's going to keep going because for them, they lose out on very little of whatever's happening in that respect.
Yeah.
But they gain. The upside for China is a long-term upside.
Yeah. Which is China for you.
Which is China for you. We're going to take a break. We're going to take snacks. We'll come back just now. And we're back.
So South 32 shutting down their aluminium smelter Mozal in Mozambique. Now, because they can't get power, and they need almost a gigawatt of power, which is a ton of power, and they get it from Corobasso, which is all lacquer except drought, so hydro, so nope, sorry for yous. And in fact, there are a couple of countries in Africa that rely very heavily on Ghana being another, and climate change is going to hurt. The weird thing, it's thousands of jobs, it's tragic. It's also about 3% of Mozambique's GDP.
Yeah, you speak of jobs. I think it's 1 in 3 jobs. That's 30% that are at risk because of the closure of the smelter. And I mean, from South 32's perspective, they said, look, we're not closing it down. We're just going to put it into care and maintenance. But what people don't understand about the smelter business is you can't simply turn a smelter on and off. The moment you start fiddling with it, once a smelter starts running, it must run continuously, which is what our own smelters in South Africa had a problem with. Glencore and Samancor. You cannot simply just turn it on and off. So now you've got the electricity problem. You've got the fact that once this thing goes into care and maintenance, it might take you forever to bring it out of care and maintenance.
I don't think they will, right? Because they are focusing on copper and zinc, and aluminium is like yesterday's metal.
Yeah, that's awkward. Shame, that's so sad. Seedance 2.0, effectively owned by ByteDance, same company that gave us TikTok, right? Seedance is in the AI space. They create remarkably realistic AI videos and content. And I mean, there was a, we'll share it on our socials, but there was a cat. And I know you have a particular love for cats, Si. There's a cat named John Whisk. Not John Wick, it's John Whisk, and it's an entire AI-generated video of the story of John Wick, but as a cat. It's the best thing you'll see.
So this entire app is just AI-generated video?
That's it.
So like Sora, but I'm looking at it like, but this is all just AI generated.
Yes, and the level of advancement that you're getting out of this. This is the thing, right? So this is where AI is headed. And the future of AI we'll get into that and make it make sense. Tune in for that because we've got something special for that.
Oh, but it costs $41 a month if I pay for a year.
Who said AI was going to be cheap? Someone needs to recover the NVIDIA spend.
And it only gives me 720 HD and 37.
Yeah. But Seedance seems to be taking over.
Okay, so they make the video. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so think about Hollywood.
So $2,000 a year, I get the max. That gives me 4K quality, unlimited video, premium audio. Yo, so for $2,000 a year dollars, I am basically Hollywood.
Basically, no more CGI for you.
Okay, noted. We are toast. Okay, we are toast. With my story next, and then I lost. Oh, have you looked at our 10-year yields lately?
No, I haven't. Why?
They are under 8%. They are at decade lows. I'm going to zoom that chart out to further. So back when we had the small little liberation problem last year, it banged to 11. It was 11 in April of 24. It got to 11 when we got the grey listing. It actually got to 13 when we had the pandemic. And then it hit 11, so last year, April. And then it's just been one-way traffic like I've never seen in a bond chart before. And now it's sub 8. Which
really
saves our minister a bomb as cancel all our bonds and reissue quick. And it's
We've got 9 seconds. We have one update to get through, and it is the fact that Banque Pictet, Swiss bank, coming to South Africa, opening a branch in South Africa. I don't know. That's all I've got. We are diving into all things AI. Different companies around the world have decided that they're going to use artificial intelligence for different things, including a karaoke company.
No, you're not wrong. So the company's name is Algorithm Holdings. Code is RIME, R-I-M-E. They are essentially a karaoke company, make no mistake. And they were trading, they were a penny stock, right? They were trading 80 cents and now suddenly they're trading at $3.50 because they launched something called Semicab, which is apparently going to completely disrupt and disintermediate and every other word the entire logistics supply chain from trucks to boats to aeroplanes to dock workers.
Seeing as how it only takes two things to create a mega sensation in AI, Sai, I think you and I should do it. We are disrupting, there's the first one, the podcast space with AI. Apparently, all you have to do is add the word disrupting and AI and pick a niche, and then...
Because really, I don't know what this company has, but they don't really have necessarily... this is a multi-trillion-dollar a year industry, logistics. Much of it... I know some truckers, they've got cell phones and stuff, but there's like a lot of paperwork. If you want to find a fax in this country, go to a logistics company. They will have a fax
They'll
machine.
have a fax machine.
Type of thing. And then some company, which no one's ever heard of, apparently has this little thing that no one actually verifies. And suddenly it is, boom, it's all done and things are sorted. And he has an industry that's on its knees and 100 billion or whatever gets wiped out. Apparently the stock has collapsed 30% overnight. After the Friday close. But, the idea that you'll be able to handle 400% more freight volume using this app, it sounds great on a PowerPoint, but in the real actual world, is AI going to disrupt many industries? Yes. On Friday? No.
AI is disrupting Palantir. Apparently, Palantir was hacked by an AI agent to gain super user access. Now, Palantir, for those who don't know, is probably one of the most carefully guarded companies in the United States, given that it handles all of the data for companies like Lockheed Martin and potentially even the Pentagon. I wouldn't be surprised if they've got involvements there.
Yeah, they've got contracts there too.
Yeah, for them to be hacked and to be hacked by an AI agent, allegedly, folks, we are not the ones that sent the agent, nor do we know who did, allegedly. It just goes to show you the extent to which artificial intelligence is being used. The karaoke business is but one example. We spoke about Seedance in our useful updates and what you're able to then do with that software. Really, if you're in this AI space, it's for you to figure out what it is you can automate or use AI for and just do it and get it done. Surely it doesn't cost you as much as it would have if you had to do it manually. I'm just thinking about anything.
Hey, to be clear, it's costing the likes of Anthropic and OpenAI.
Yeah. Not us as end users.
Not us as end users.
Yeah.
But it is. And the whole idea is that you can go to Claude Code, and that's why all the SaaS stocks, software as a service stocks, are Adobe and stuff are getting absolutely killed. And there is a world. So I was an Adobe Photoshop subscriber for years, $20 a month.
I used to use Photoshop many moons ago.
I used to to use that one little corner of it. Like the other 99%, I have no idea. Anyway, it was $20 a month. And I'm like, oh. So then I download GIMP, which is an open source software, but I don't like the interface. So I go to Claude and I pay Claude $20 a month, and I say to Claude, can you make a Photoshop interface for this GIMP thing? Boom, done. But now, is that disintermediating Adobe? No. Is it making Adobe dead? No. I mean, are corporates canceling en masse their SaaS contracts? Why? Because, I mean, Microsoft Office is still like a multi-billion-dollar business, but Google Docs and Libra have been around for 20 years and are these days very stable, and they're still not canceling. So we get into this hype cycle, and I don't know, it runs two ways. So see problem, see SaaS stocks falling, and say to yourself, this must be because of AI. Or someone chirps AI and stocks collapse because AI is tomorrow going to change everything. I mean, will there be some SaaS companies that start up that are pure AI, coded? Sure. But I'm not convinced that all of this craziness and collapsing is not just the market being crazy.
So the interesting thing,
ascribing a tail to it.
Yeah. So what I find interesting about this is I spoke to an actuary the other day, and he was talking about AI within the banking environment that he works in. And he says he doesn't believe in artificial intelligence because for as much as it can draft and create a discounted cash flow model for you, it can't make decisions for the business. And it shouldn't make decisions because the moment you figure out what the decision matrix structure looks like for an AI tool, it's easier to hack and manipulate. You can easily say to an AI engine, a ChatGPT, a Claude or whatever, hey, view this in this light or whatever. You can be instructional in how it...
prompts and...
That's it. And that affects directly the outcome it generates. And so his point was to say, in as much as it can streamline my work processes and my workflows, it does not make the decisions, and it should never make the decisions. So I think we're going to get to a point where you can use AI for certain functions within a work environment, a corporate environment, but I don't think ultimate decision making would be left to artificial intelligence at this point in life.
I agreed with you 100%. I mean, aside from things like quick code injections, which can make stuff go horribly, horribly wrong, I mean, AI can make more errors in one evening than I've made in a lifetime. And I got a lot of them. I mean, I'm like quite the pro at that. And agreed. I mean, so yeah, I went, the Opus 4.6, which is the latest Anthropic, does a really, really good discounted cash flow. And I've been trying DCFs and all of these models, and they've all been bunk until now. I mean, not bunk, just useless. Okay, so it gives me a really, really good DCF on stocks, better on US stocks than Europe or South Africa.
Maybe more data availability there.
And also, you've got to make some assumptions, and it's obviously it's a data thing. It's consumed more data. There is more data, but it gives it to you. So I go and I'm digging around Dell, and it says the DCF is 180 and the price is 120 and stuff. But like, it's a brave person who takes a DCF from Opus 4.6
and runs with it. You'd be surprised, Si.
I know.
You'd be surprised. Okay, we live in a generation that does not want to do things that make them feel uncomfortable. And so I wouldn't be surprised.
So throwing money at a DCF made by an AI doesn't make you feel uncomfortable?
No, but
it's part of that too, right?
Yeah.
I'm building a case study because when Sanjay Patai was talking around the Alphabet big spend, he said 60% is actually going to replace existing data centers, in other words, upgrades, and a lot of that is servers, not fancy NVIDIA chips. And I'm like, well, who's the servers? It's Dell. So then I start digging around Dell, but it's part of a process. It just did something for me that, well, I wouldn't do DCS. I find them too much like hard work. So I now have DCF from my arsenal at the same time. But to what you're saying, it's one part of a much bigger human-driven process. Now, maybe we're going to get run over by an AI sort of train in half a minute's time and proved wrong. But for now, I still...
Yeah, I mean, one of the other examples is a platform like Suno. It's an AI music generator, right? So I think about a platform like that, and I think, okay, it's all good and well that you are able to do that, right? But immediately when I look at the music space... Yeah, you might be able to put out a record. Yes, you might be able to mix a couple of voices in there. You might be able to perhaps put together a really good DJ mix or whatever it is, right? But what you will never replace, and this is might just give away some of the things that I hold close to my heart, but it will never replace the emotion that
Which is what
you
music
get.
is of a
Exactly. I'm thinking about one specific example, and that is the entire soundtrack to the movie The Bodyguard. Years after that movie has been released, almost decades after that movie has been released, there will never be another Whitney Houston, another The Bodyguard, and a showcase of who she was like that. You can't recreate that with AI. You can try, by all means. You can try recreate a John Whisk, as we spoke about with the cat and the Seedance platform, but you're not going to create the emotion that someone like a Keanu Reeves installs in a role because of how much time he spent researching the role, right? So nothing against platforms like Suno, but I don't think that AI will replace absolutely everything that we do in the world.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, look, I think it could, but then the question is, do we not just live in a soulless world? What is the point of music and movies and books and et cetera, because of the inherent human nature of it? And the errors that come with it and stuff. And to be clear, maybe we're talking our own book here because we're worried about, our producer getting a virtual Simon and Jimmy,
Well, you can try, but they won't know the things that we know. So remember, AI relies on having the ability to learn from a base point. It will only ever learn of Simon's colorful youth from Simon. It can't go back in time and rediscover your memories unless they get to that point where they plug you into a machine. But it's still learning from you.
You're making an excellent point there. And I've said this many times before. Like, I got my first digital camera in December of 2000. I was early to the party. But I was also at that point 30 years old. There was 30 years of my life which was not documented.
There we go.
And maybe that is what does separate us, is our history, and the fact that our history only really exists in two places. One is our head, and one is kind of sort of folklore.
What we've documented, what we've passed down in stories and things. Yeah,
okay, so
absolutely. But in the event that we do find ourselves in an era where the machines do take over and we find ourselves in a Terminator-like simulation, I would just like to put it out there to the AIs of the world. Simon and Jimmy were on your side. We are the good guys. Don't kill us. But yeah, I think from a world of AI perspective, I think from a business perspective as well, with the companies that what we're seeing companies do in the AI space, it's no longer a race to which company can develop the best AI. It's which company could potentially streamline their processes the best or enhance their businesses the best through the use of AI.
Yes, and this 100% feeds into what I think is going to pop the AI bubble, which is one day when a non-tech company like PepsiCo stands up and says, yeah, we're taking AI out because we haven't seen a return on investment. Now, I don't know if they are or aren't, but right now we're assuming, because everyone's spending on it and talking about it.
And trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and we assume that there's going to be an ROI. And if there isn't, well, then now what? But
especially if it's a big company, right? So depending on which company, that might be kind of the pin that literally pops the bubble in the AI race, depending on the size of the company, why the company's been involved, especially if it's a company that has historically been known to be pro-AI, to suddenly come out and say, you know what, we're going to stop our spend effective.
This doesn't work for
this
us.
calendar. And at some point you have to, right? At some point, from a business perspective, you can't burn through cash for the sake of wanting to stay ahead of a race that you don't know where is going.
Exactly. It needs to be, so at the moment, business leaders need to be seen to be doing AI. They need to be talking the talk. They need to be seen to be part of that process, because if you're not, then everyone's like, well, you're going to get dust. But at some point, if you're spending, vast amount of money, well, then it's a case of your good business leader says we're cutting back on it if you're spending the money. So we're in the spend moment. And that's
yes.
Cool. Right now you spend.
We're loving it. Companies are loving it.
You spend.
We're sitting there enjoying all of it.
At some point we move away from that and we need to now see the actual, it happening.
There are some uses there's some places where I suppose AI would take a greater role. If you're looking to aggregate information, for example, in the legal profession, looking to aggregate past cases that date back to however long ago, and you don't have the time, that could be a very useful tool in that respect.
Yes.
That is what AI is very good at, being able to aggregate large amounts of data sets and bring them to you in a limited amount of time, which is also why the discounted cash flow method works, because it looks at previous his financials and aggregates all of the numbers and then gives you an outcome, right? So there are areas where I suppose you might find more use for it, but I don't know from a future of AI perspective and a world of AI, whether or not we live in a world, or we will ever live in a world, where there will be no need for humans, if that makes sense.
Well, I hope not.
You're a human. You kind of like being here.
I mean, to be perfectly frank, it's like with the whole global warming, and it's like, the Earth is toast. No, the Earth is doing totally fine. It's us who are toast. I mean, the Earth does not need us.
It doesn't. That's a very valid point.
we need the Earth. So maybe this is all actually just the Earth coming at us. I don't know. But yeah, to be clear, the Earth don't need us.
Well, we'll see how the world of AI continues to unfold and where it is we see it going. But I think for now, that's the deep dive. And we're trying to make sense of things that seemingly do not make sense. We're going to start this Make It Make Sense with something that Simon holds very dear to his heart, and that is his coffee, because we've just seen a clip that I, for one, am enraged on his behalf, but he's been containing this within himself for the entire episode that we've been recording. So Simon Brown is going to finally share his thoughts on a clip we've seen. For context, folks, the clip is of a gentleman holding a rotisserie chicken and drinking a cappuccino out of said rotisserie chicken. Si, can I buy you a Woolies chicken?
You missed the point, which is not out of a cup. There are some things, like I love bananas, I love curry, but you don't have banana and curry. That is like white people stuff, and you don't do that shit. I love myself a chicken, and you know what? I don't eat enough of it because I a bit of KFC from Tuesdays, but the whole thing. Like chicken, roast chicken, rotisserie chicken from Woolies with fresh bread rolls and stuff. That is the food of God.
That's great, yeah.
Cappuccino, the drink of gods. Together, hell. Just simple hell. No, some things are lovely and they're not to be mixed. That is what matters. Just saying, don't do it. Some things don't do. Like really. Like I mean, just thinking about that video makes me feel ill.
There are very few things, folks, in life that upset Simon Brown as much as committing such crimes. Please do not do it.
Yeah. You're going to order your mutton bunny mild next. I mean, no.
Okay, cappuccino does not belong inside a rotisserie chicken. We've made sense of that. That's very clear. There's no grey area there. There's a hard boundary. There's a hard stop, and that's it.
And if you're ever sure of it, message me. I can tell you the boundaries. They're not hard.
Speaking of boundaries, WhatsApp. There is a company around that is supposedly using WhatsApp to be able to track employees on the job. So GPS tracking, things like clocking in and out of work and all of that. There is a company that allows you to experience this from a data collection point of view called allwage.com, right? So they allow for facilities like being able to have live dashboards and all sorts of things for your payroll and all of that. But the surprising thing that I saw there was that you're able to, in addition to having the biometrics of your employees taken, you're able to then track your employees in real time using WhatsApp. Now, I don't know if it's using their WhatsApp, the employees' WhatsApps, but we've now found a way to integrate the clocking system that blue-collar workers use with WhatsApp tracking so that we know...
Is this opt-in by the workers?
Oh, I highly doubt it.
Yo.
I highly doubt it, but I also don't know if it's some... So I don't know if companies... So you could also use it for clocking in. So
sure,
but now if I clock in...
If you say to your staff, hey, here's just a way to make it easy to clock in and...
But then if I'm a staff member who usually clocks in from a different part of the city so that I don't miss my clock in time, this is not going to work for me if the clock in is linked to GPS.
Correctamundo. Which is the whole, yes.
This is weird.
Well, this is just big business trying to squeeze their last ounce of flesh, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't surprise me. It does bother me. Fortunately, I don't clock in, and fortunately, no one really cares where I am. I'm here, guys.
Here in an undisclosed location, right? Last Make It Make Sense is 100 billion rand. It's a big number.
Tuesday.
Well, depending on which part of the country you're in and who you are in the country.
You are. 100 billion.
Very much who you are in the country.
100 billion. What are we doing with it?
100 billion is not the transformation fund. It is the size of the illicit economies in South Africa. Approximately 100 billion. So illicit cigarettes, illicit alcohol, all the illicit markets kind of around the 100 billion rand mark. Now, that obviously has tax implications, that has all sorts of unintended consequences, but really it seems like a thriving market, if you ask me.
It does, but it also seems a little small. I mean, if our GDP is around
potentially
$400 billion.
Yeah, so 100 billion could potentially be, let me just check, it could potentially be the amount that is lost from a revenue collection perspective. But it is 100 billion a year is the government revenue that they're losing out
so the
from the illicit economy.
Way bigger. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yes, so we're losing out in
and let's put that
revenues.
in perspective. And forever we're going to have this as our perspective, right? The 2% VAT increase we didn't get last year was about 50 billion.
Exactly.
So it's 4%, four VAT points. In other words, if we weren't losing it, VAT could be 16.
What is VAT at the moment?
20. Oh, no, my bad.
No, 15.
Sorry, it could be 11.
Could be
That's
11.
Why you looked
That's
at
it. 11.
Why did I
But
think
no.
that's 20?
But Sai,
Yeah.
that is per year, which basically means over a 5-year cycle, if we're actually saving 2 percentage points in VAT every single year through this fund, you could have VAT at 0 in no time and still have change to do other things. Or you could be financing and funding a transformation fund every single year with 100 billion. That's the revenue that South African government is supposedly losing out on the
That's
illicit
quite
economy. Yeah.
That is quite staggering.
The South African Revenue Services has previously complained about this to express their concerns around this illicit economy. A lot of various stakeholders have come out to speak out on this as well and say, look, this is what it's costing the country. We know that recently the likes of British American Tobacco announced that they would be closing down their plant in South Africa because of the size of the illicit cigarette market as well. So it's definitely a reality that we're confronted with.
And it's a nice way to put it, because we think around the illicit economy and we don't, what is it, tobacco, alcohol, other things as well. And you don't sort of put a number to it. And then it's like, oh, hang on.
It's quite a big number. And again, this is just the revenues.
That's SARS's loss.
Right. So this is not the size of that economy. In order for that economy's size to be measured, you'd have to measure how much of that 100 billion is contributed by the market, or how much of the market would then be paying that over to SARS.
Yeah.
So an infinite multiplier effect needs to be applied there. That's scary.
Yeah. Wow.
That's a lot to think about.
A lot of cigarettes.
And alcohol, apparently.
Yeah,
and a couple of other things along the way.
So smoking an illicit cigarette, I don't think I ever have, because cigarettes are expensive. But I would not be drinking illicit alcohol. No, man, I interviewed some dude once about it, and they just scared the bejesus out of me. Notwithstanding,
it's a different kind of risk.
When I was 18, we had a party once in Matric, and we basically had a bathtub, and we put stuff in there and stuff, and dum. And 3 days later, we had the party, and the first 2 oaks, we had to call an ambulance.
These folks are the years of Simon Brown that are not documented.
Correct, Armando.
So you'll only ever hear of them on Insider Exchange. On that note, that's the show for today, folks. Before we go, we have to leave you with an unfiltered opinion, because it would be criminal of us not to. This week's unfiltered opinion of the week is, are gym memberships getting ridiculous? Now, no context, just yes. and here's the context behind it, Sai, is that if you look at the membership prices and the membership fees, right? So they've gotten a little out of hand, right? I remember looking at a membership for the gym, and to have access to one gym would be more than 1,500 or 1,600 or something odd rand a month. Except if you've got Discovery Vitality, which then brings that fee down to 300 or 400 rand.
Vitality?
That's another 400 rand there. But still, technically, you are still saving in that respect. But the point on that is then that if you can afford to do that, whether the Discovery relationship is subsidizing the rest of that balance or not, right? If you can sit there as a service provider of a gym facility and afford to charge that much money, is there really value that you're adding to customers' lives? Because that is still not the most expensive of the packages, right? So there are premium memberships where you get extra special types of gyms, right? This gym gives you warm towels and apples. And your monthly membership goes from 1,500, 1,600, maybe even 1,700 to 4,000 Rand a month because you want the hot towels and the apples, right? Now, the question again is, at what point is it offering value and at what point is it excessive?
Yeah, mostly excessive. So I cheat. I don't have discovery. I cheat. I only go in daylight hours because I'm on.
Yeah, so off-peak hours.
Yeah, I'm on wireless at 6:30 in the morning. I'm not gymming. I ain't going to gym in the evening.
Yeah, so you go to about 11 where there's no one there.
Yeah,
you miss the traffic.
I miss and it's my lifestyle allows me to.
Yes,
and it's still expensive just for
and
the
it's
record.
still expensive.
And I must go to one gym. I can't just randomly go to a gym.
You see. So this is the question, folks. This is our unfiltered opinion of the week, and we'd love to get your thoughts on it, because if there's one thing we know is that South Africans have a voice. Are gym memberships excessive? And what do we do about it? Investing isn't hard. Just try it.
Disclaimer. The views expressed by the host of Insider Exchange do not necessarily represent those of our clients, sponsors, partners, or guests and should not be considered investment advice in any way. Similarly, the views and opinions of our guests and clients do not necessarily reflect those of our hosts or on our platform. Nothing shared on this platform should be read as constituting investment advice of any kind on the part of Insider Exchange. Any of its hosts, guests, partners, or sponsors trading and investing carry varying levels of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Please ensure you fully understand the risk and take appropriate care to manage your risk. We strongly advise that you obtain independent financial, legal, and tax advice from regulated professionals and institutions before proceeding with investment decisions. Can I go and play now?